Welcome to Steve Tees Off. Today, our sponsor, I should say, start with our sponsor, which is riversidegolf.ca, who makes this possible. Ken Poirier and the team down in South Surrey are supporters of this. We're supporters of them. They make this possible. Today's guest in the studio is Steven Lecuyer.
You said it right.
I said it right.
Yeah, most people get that wrong.
That's French, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And Steven, we've been going back and forth for a while here. You're at Seymour Creek Golf Center, right?
Yep.
But you had a path to getting to Seymour Creek. You obviously started playing young.
Yeah.
And eventually you went to school, you played pro, and you're coaching.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
That's pretty much. Now, what we talk about, we like to talk about the angle of, I'm always interested in finding out how someone started in this game, because everybody's got a story as to how you start.
Sure.
Golf is not one of my things. It's a pet peeve of mine too. It's not overly accessible. Like, it's not easy to just, I'm gonna golf.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, the sim scene has made it a little easier. You can go into, right? But it's got a stigma attached to it. It's hard. And I was lucky when I was a kid and I told this story a million times. I was, whatever you are, in grade 5 or grade 6. And my dad put me into golf lessons. We lived in Winnipeg. And if you went to all 10, you got a credit at the pro shop. And that's how, and I went to all 10.
Nice.
And sometimes I was there by myself. And I can remember the pro's name. His name was Harry Brochi. And that's how I started golfing.
Yeah,
and my dad didn't start golfing till he was older. So it was something that we could do together all the time.
Sure. Now,
he hunted, we fit, all that kind of shit. But the thing is that was my introduction to golf. Had he not done that, maybe not. I don't know. Couldn't. So, when I had kids myself, I made sure that, the boy was introduced to golf. Now, he happened to play a lot of hockey.
Sure.
And he's a member at Beach Grove now. Like, he's got a job and that kind of thing. But we can still golf together.
Yeah.
Like, we can still do it, and we're still fans. Like, it starts real early. So I'm always interested in where somebody like yourself. Where'd you get your start in golf? Where are you from?
So I'm from Edmonton, Alberta.
You're not an Oilers fan, are you?
Yeah, I'm an Oilers fan. Come on. You're a Canucks fan?
No.
Jets fan?
I cheer for the Jets.
Yeah. I cheer for the Jets too.
Yeah, I cheer for the Jets. So you're from Edmonton?
Yeah, from Edmonton. My father was a professional. My uncles were professionals. My brother played. My sister played. So it's a family sport for us, for sure.
So that was your...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of the first memories has got to be a golf memory for me, just playing with my brothers, my dad, my uncles.
So Edmonton, I know the climate is quite close to Winnipeg, maybe arguably worse.
Probably.
Bigger mosquitoes in Edmonton, but I don't know, that's a push. And the winters are horrid. What'd you do in the wintertime?
Oh, we played hockey.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting living out here where kids are golfers. Even myself now, it's like you're playing 12 months of the year, which, I don't think I did that till I went down to college when I was about 18.
So, okay, you pick up a golf, obviously you're born into a family of golfers.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So you really, that's the happenstance.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Everybody in the family is a golfer.
So you've got it so when did you pick up a club? When was the first time you picked up a club? Do you remember?
I don't even remember. I would say probably 5 or 6, I'm guessing. I wouldn't start competing like a lot of these kids nowadays are competing at a young age. I don't think I played my first tournament until I was at least 12.
Okay. Well, that's 12, still pretty young but
yeah,
the thing is, now they're down in San Diego at 8.
Oh, I know. They play more tournaments by the time they're 12 than I did, all the way up till 18.
That good, bad, or?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Well,
it's hard to be a multi-sport athlete if you're playing every day in one sport.
Yeah.
You know,
But at the same time, how do you get really good? Like, how do you, like, I get that. Okay. But I've seen, you know, I always look at, how someone, there's the story to how somebody got as
Right.
good as they did.
sure.
And, it's of interest. I'm curious because you got to have natural ability. There's
sure. Yeah.
if you don't have that like you can't. And the one thing in sport too, that you can't teach is size. You can't teach that.
Sure.
You're either, and I don't give a shit what anybody says about sport overall. If you have great hands and you're big, there's a lot of things you can do. If you're left-handed, if you're southpaw, if you, I don't know if you're married, if you have children, but if you do have kids and they can throw, they're left-handed, put a baseball in their hand. I grew up on the prairies, man.
Yeah.
The scariest thing was facing a left-handed pitcher when I was a kid.
Sure.
Just like, holy shit. Or being punched in the face by somebody that's left-handed.
Yeah.
That's always like, okay, I better wake up now.
Yeah.
But sport, I find it interesting how things have evolved, because my kids are all grown now. And I have a daughter that played college ball at SFU. My son played university hockey. And like he says to me now, because he's not big, he goes, "Why don't you put me in soccer?" Well, that really wasn't a sport.
It is this month.
Well, it is this month, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't much, it was
Sure.
okay. Like
It's a recess thing for
yeah,
most people.
exactly. It was a recess thing. That's exactly it. Spoken like a true prairie boy.
Yeah.
It was a recess thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do okay, soccer ball, we'll kick it around.
Sure.
That was it. But it's not, I don't, I'll watch, I don't know, you're watching the World Cup?
Yeah, I've actually been kind of getting into it now, especially now in the later rounds. It's very interesting. These guys they're super high skilled. It's pretty impressive to watch.
It is unbelievable. Like it really is. It's interesting. It's cool to watch. Slow motion's cool to watch. Like I one of the things I hate about golf, or not, I should say golf. Shit. One of the things I hate about soccer or football, whatever you want to call it,
Sure.
is the like the faking crap. Like I can't.
There's a lot of that in
It's just,
soccer.
it's like, and now in slow motion, you watch it and you get a guy getting thrown out for faking.
Yeah.
That was funny, but it's like, where do you draw the line here? Like, is there no, and that's the thing is that in hockey, I used to go, well, like, okay, that's against the rules. Like, you're not allowed to do that.
Sure.
But in soccer, there appears to be, I don't know what constitutes, well, I do, I guess, when you're supposed to make contact with the ball first when you're trying to tackle somebody, right? I think. But it, and a lot of it is subjective, I suppose. But sometimes it's not subjective. And I think about that sport the way that because you've been watching it for a while. If like golf could never be like that, because it is a true meritocracy. If you cheat, you cheat.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You can't play around with shit. I'm going way off, but
No, I get what you mean. Yeah.
so and in hockey, you always had the option if somebody was taking liberties. Okay, you're going to have to fight, or something's going to happen here, and you got to watch it. In soccer, I always go, okay, if you want to have contact.
Yeah.
But you're pushing guys around and shit like that, and then a guy touches you and you fall down like you got shot.
Yeah.
And he goes,
It's a
come
little
on,
strange, right?
come on.
Yeah, I just don't know the culture, like how it.
How
I think it's probably doing that forever though.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's part of the game.
It's part of the game. Like and now I God love them. Like everybody's watching it, and it is the world's most popular game simply because it's accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can wrap up a bunch of plastic bags and you can go play it. And that's great. And it was here in Vancouver for whatever 7 games, and I couldn't give it like.
Yeah.
Well,
no, exactly.
I would think that from a tourist standpoint, having a PGA Tour event would probably garner more tourists that would spend dollars than the soccer did. But That's just an anecdotal comment. I'm just saying.
You think so? I don't know about that.
I this is a guy that used to live across the street from Northview and go to,
Yeah,
when
a lot of people came out to that.
yeah, shit tons of them did. And it was fun.
Yeah, that would have been cool to see.
It was lots of fun. So anyway, I'm digressing here. And okay, you were born in Edmonton. You had a club in your hands when you were about 5 years old. You started playing, you had your first junior tournament when you were 12 years old.
Yeah, around 12.
Okay. And how did that go? Do you remember it?
I remember I wasn't that good, that's for sure.
Uh-huh.
Even at the club I played at, I probably wasn't the best, and on the top 3 or 4 12-year-old. I think it took a long time for me to get somewhat decent.
So when
It
you
wasn't
say
like a,
it took, what you must have had some sort of drive though that you wanted to get better.
yeah, exactly. Well, I think golf, that's kind of like just in the blueprint, right? Like, I don't think people are playing not to get better. You know what I mean? It's kind of just such a natural,
Yeah.
because it's just
You're right. That's a good comment.
right? It's
You're
just a
not
very
playing to
difficult
get
game. It's
worse.
like, and I think the way our minds work is like,
You're
I
right.
think I could have done better. But it'll, like, in golf, it just seems to be,
You're right. That's a good point.
you'll play golf with a guy and he plays his best round ever, but he'll tell you where he could
Every
have
little
done better, right?
What he missed.
I think that's just,
That's the nature of
the nature of the game. So I think I was just, like I said, if you just keep playing, you're probably going to get better.
And it is a game where, like, and it's playing and the humdrum of practice. It's like one of the things against me, and I can admit it because of my age now. Practicing was boring as shit to me. Like, I hated practice. I hated practicing. I hated hitting balls.
Why is that?
I don't know what it was. It just bored me. I wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
And because what would happen is that I'd go, like, and I grew up in a small town in southern Manitoba. We didn't have a driving range. It was a 9-hole golf course. And I could ride my bike to it too. After I got into, like, I was in probably junior high is when we moved out
Sure.
and out there. And I could, and if you wanted to hit balls, you had to shag your own balls. So you go to the first hole, sundown.
That'd be a little tiring.
That's right. And you'd hit like I'd have my Adidas bag full of golf balls.
Yeah.
And me and my buddy would go out and we hit balls. But maybe you'd hit like 30 balls and you might, and there was hazards too, right? So then you'd sit there having your mind how many golf balls you had, and then you go crawl through the bush to try and find some more to replace the ones that you lost.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the luxury of a driving range. But what I would do is I would sit there, and if I could hit the same shot, and I'll just pull a number out of my ass 5 times, that's good. It's not good. You got to continue to do that. Can you do it every single time? Because the 6th time might be a shank. I don't know.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. No, it's
and putting, which has been my nemesis all my life, as my father would always, I could be like, have a 2-footer and he'd walk by and go, $10 says you missed that.
yeah.
And then it's in your head and you're going, and he was deadly, like with the putter in his hand. So you got to there's a lot of things at play when you're playing, when you play golf, like I'll make this comment, Steven, is that golf it's like life. It really is.
I've heard that comment before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be fantastic. And then the next moment it can just be shit.
Oh, definitely.
And you're always in life. I think we're all we are striving. You're constantly striving to get better at whatever it is that you're trying to get better at.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Golf is that game where if you can try and get better, you can get a lesson, you get some lessons, you go practice, you can play. Although it's getting more and more difficult as, in the lower mainland of British Columbia,
Sure
it's
is.
getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
Trying to find a tee time. You have a lot of long rounds. We talked about that.
Yeah. No, the golf is getting, it's getting more difficult to play. It's funny that you said at the beginning, it's a tough sport to access. I'd say when I was a kid, it was a lot easier than it is now.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's like, yeah, you can get a tee time, number one. And then it's also becoming pretty expensive as well.
It's very expensive, and I was telling you a little bit briefly before, where I do the majority of my golf, and it is I don't remember it being over 4.5 hours, honestly. It just and I don't know when that happened, and I've been out here for a long time from the prairies, like I have.
Sure.
When I'm a guy that used to, the first year I was out here in 1994, I remember golfing at Swanee Set with super value bags in January, in gale force winds, rain and shit, and going,
Yeah. Better than Winnipeg.
Yeah, it is. It was, and okay, so what? But I could always find somebody to play with.
Sure.
Because they'd be just as crazy as I was. But I don't remember it ever being over 5 hours out on the golf course, unless it was a tournament. And it might even be a Texas Scramble or something like that. And there's
Sure.
a lot of booze being consumed or whatever. But now it's just, the last time I played Morgan Creek, I quit on the 17th hole. And it's not like it was summertime. It was the fall, but it was a good day.
Yeah.
And we should have finished. And 17th, I pumped one. I couldn't even see it. Turned around and I shook their hands and said, "Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. I can't. I've had enough."
Yeah, it's tough. It's when you got a long round like that, it's tough to stay focused, or you kind of lose the joy of the game a little bit.
Yeah.
More of a chore. It's like, we got to get through this.
Yeah, and especially when like I'll say this too, when people are out in the golf course and they don't know proper etiquette, they don't know what they don't know. And if you go up and say something, you're an asshole.
Yeah, isn't that a shame?
It really is. It's permeated things, and I can speak specifically to certain time where it's just like everyone doesn't. If you're playing in a foursome, everyone doesn't go to that one person's ball that's gonna hit. Go to your ball.
Shouldn't, yeah.
Go to your ball.
It's a scramble.
That let's just stop this right now, because I can see this hole taking 30 minutes to play.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting and I'm getting madder and madder. And it's, and things perpetuate themselves. Golf is like it's almost like you're looking for an excuse to screw it up almost.
Sure.
Like if things are going well, you're looking for a reason. If things are going well, it's almost when something goes bad, you go, I knew that was going to happen, and that, but anyway, so you play in junior golf. When did your career start? When you were playing in golf, when did you start to think, you know what, maybe I can go to school. Maybe I can make this something.
I don't know if there was ever like a certain age or time when that happened. I think it's just like we kind of go back before. It's like, it's a game where you can't really win. So if you keep at it, I think you just keep advancing, So there wasn't like a time where I was like, oh man, I could really, I think you always have that in the back of your mind, just as like any kid would too. Like, oh, I'm going to play in the PGA Tour.
But did you ever think that?
Oh, for sure. Like, I think I thought that at a very young, well, I did. I definitely thought at a very young age, but I don't think you constantly think about it, if that makes sense. It's more like, okay, that's what I want to do. But then you just kind of, go through life with that. So then you keep to practice, you play more tournaments, you go to college, you do all the, things you witness other people doing.
So when you, you played your first tournament when you were 12 years old. Obviously you're progressing. You're going to high school, you're spending the summer out on the golf course doing that, and your game's getting better, right? Just because you're playing more.
Sure.
And you end up going to school, playing golf collegially. Yep. Where'd you go?
University of Central Arkansas.
Okay. That would be a little bit of a
culture
thing.
Yeah. You know what? For sure. A lot of guys on my team though. Yeah, you've been to Arkansas?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. You like it? Depends where you are in Arkansas, really. The team though was really like multicultural. I had guys from all over the world, so it was kind of like a cool little melting pot of, wow, look at all these good players from all around the world, and then they just kind of encourage you to get better, and it's a perfect recipe for players to like if you don't have the inspiration or, the guys around you at the club to push you, like getting on a college golf team is I probably improved the best in those 4 years, like improved the most in those 4 years than I did at any other time in my life.
Because you were around, you were
Exactly.
around it, and you wanted to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. You're just around good golfers that like have a similar goal,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's just, it becomes fun. Really. It's not really, the work really isn't work. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And how was your collegiate career?
It was good. I only won once, but I came in the top 5 a ton of times.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't close. I wasn't a very good closer in my junior career as well, or amateur. I think I won the Alberta Amateur and the Edmonton Amateur, but besides that, I struggled getting over that finish line.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, what did you learn about yourself when you were at school?
What did I learn about myself? Well, I learned that there's only 3 things you could really do at school. Like you could golf, you can party, and you can do your schoolwork. You can't do all 3. So
Uh-huh.
I decided to do 2 of the 3 different years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question. What did I learn about myself?
Well,
I learned that I could play with some of these guys.
Yeah.
I played with a lot of really good, like, players that are on the PGA Tour now when I was in college. So it was kind of like, these guys are good, but like, they're not, oh my God, good.
mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does make sense. It makes sense. But when you go to school too, the other thing is that, you might be on the golf team, but nobody's sticking a gun to your head to go to class or to
it's quite the opposite usually. Sometimes they kind of want you to, you get away with
a lot of
certain
stuff.
things.
You betcha. Mm-hmm. So you got to grow up a little bit.
Sure.
And you have to motivate yourself, kick yourself in the ass and say, and I would imagine too, that it would be, if you're on a golf team that is competitive, when you go into a tournament, you putting 4 guys in?
5.
5. Okay. And how many are on the team? Like 6?
No, there's like 9 or
9.
10.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's pretty goddamn competitive.
Sure. Yeah.
So
definitely.
you want to be the guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? You want to be the guy. And when you're the guy, you don't want to let your teammates down either and play like horse shit.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
the facts. So it's, and had that had been the first time that you'd experienced that team play, or?
I played on a couple Alberta teams, like the Wellington Cup team.
Okay.
I played on a few times, and then like some of the Alberta junior teams. But it's definitely different in college because you're living with these guys, you're traveling with these guys. It's like, you're with them almost every single day. So it's definitely more of a camaraderie than those other provincial teams.
You said you've played, you went to school, you probably played against some guys that are they still out in the tour?
Yeah. It wasn't like I so much played with them. They were in the same tournaments.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And yeah, there was Ricky Fowler, he's still playing.
Uh-huh.
He was the big guy in college when I was
Mm-hmm.
in college. He was like, I think #1 amateur in the world, or maybe Nick Taylor was. But
Did you ever get to play with him?
I've never played with Ricky Fowler. No, I played them. We played in the regionals with Oklahoma State, so got to see how good they were. They were really good.
Are there any players? And I'll ask this question: when you doing that, are there any players that you played with that you lost track of, and then all of a sudden you heard about, and you took a step back and went, I didn't think that guy was that good, and he's that good? Or vice versa, somebody that you thought couldn't miss, that you saw play, that you went, okay, this guy's really good, and he just shit the bed. He couldn't progress. It's a question you got to think about.
Yeah, exactly. You can kind of see it. Like, I know people say, like, you can see a guy with a good work ethic. You can see a guy that like pretty determined, like I'd say Nick Taylor, for instance. Like, I used to play the Canadian Tour with him, and you could just, even when he was having a bad year, you could just kind of see it in his eyes too. That's like, oh, this isn't the end, He'll keep going. And vice versa, you see other guys too. Like, there's a couple guys I played with on the Sunshine Tour where you're, amazing talent. And you can kind of see like, is he really going to go to the next level or really, like, he definitely has the ability.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess, and everyone's different, right? Like, who knows exactly what everybody wants. But I do know this game is very difficult.
Yeah.
And, there's just so many good golfers in this world.
Oh yeah.
Like
Well, I got a taste of that when I first started doing this. I had Chris Crisologo on. We were talking.
Yeah, great player. I just played with him last week.
And he's a great player. He's the guy that taught me how to actually spin a wedge at the sim place in Richmond. I'm serious. Like I was going, okay, well, what? And I'm watching him hit these balls, and I just said, okay, how are you doing that? He goes, well, when was the last time you had a lesson? I don't know. I was 8. Like he goes, do you look at a player's hands when they're spinning the ball? I go, no, not really.
Yeah.
And then he gets all technical on me.
Sure.
He gets really technical, and I go, I don't need to hear that stuff. What are you doing here? Okay,
Yeah.
I do that. He goes, do that. Spin the ball. Do that again. See you spin the ball. I go, holy shit, that only took me like 58 years to learn, but whatever, like you go, okay. And he's a good player.
He's a great player.
He didn't get status on the Tour Americas, did he?
I think he does. I think he's got partial.
Okay.
I think there's some.
But I never really, we had that conversation. We had the conversation on here talking about it, but him basically saying, like there's like 350 or 400, 600 other guys that will take my spot, like on any given day. It doesn't matter. Like
for sure.
And that's for real.
Yeah.
Right. And we're not even playing for a ton of money. We're just, like, and I swear to God, when I showed up at Morgan Creek to pick up my passes to get into that Fortinet, some of the guys were sleeping in their cars, brushing their teeth out in the parking lot. And I'm like, Jesus, did you just drive here? Did you sleep here?
Yeah.
Like it's actually cold out, and it's, going, wow, that's quite a life. That's commitment, commitment.
Yeah, no, it's something else. Some of these guys, and I've been there too. Like I know exactly about the sleeping in your car or driving across the country kind of thing. Or
so you finish school and you decide that you're going to turn pro. Had you made that decision already in your last year, or what do you?
Yeah, pretty much. I think, like I said, once you set that vision when you're a little kid, it's just, it's going to be very hard to not keep following it.
So when did you play in your first professional golf tournament where there was actual money, like cash money?
Yeah, my first tournament ever as a professional, I played pretty well. I went to Texas to qualify for the Texas State Open.
Mm-hmm.
I think I probably did it like 3 or 4 weeks before the tournament, and then I came back to Arkansas, and then playing in the Texas State Open. I think I came like top 10 for sure in my first event. I think I made like maybe $9,000, which I'm like, that's American too, and I'm like, oh, this is easy. And then I took that money and I went to, where did I go? I went and stayed with a buddy in Carolina, and I played some tours out there. And then, just lost it all. I think I missed 3 cuts in a row. And that's when Brian Harmon, I remember seeing Brian Harmon there. And just this little guy, and like, you could just tell though he's super confident. He was the man out there. And
mm-hmm.
I remember seeing the scores after. I'm like, that guy shot like 25 under par. Like that's unreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was a guy, that's one guy that like I saw, right, as a peer, and I'm like, this guy definitely has the confidence to play this game. And that was,
you got to believe.
Yeah. Especially for a guy like that too. Like, he's not the biggest guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't hit the farthest, but he had like that confident belief in himself.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably I've never met Phil, but I've heard Phil has a very similar kind of energy.
Well, I told you a little bit about like living real close to Northview, and I did have a putting green in my backyard too, which I built a real putting green, which is probably the stupidest thing anybody could possibly do. Like it was just insane. Like it was stupid. And I learned all about, the greenskeeper at Northview became my best friend, but it was stupid. Like it was just the stupidest. You're allowed a couple of stupid things growing up, and becoming it. And that was just this dumbass. Like I had to build everything up and had 4 holes out there on real grass.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Like it was, but then it became a pain in the ass because you need to mow it. You need to and I got a dog too, and I'm putting shit on the green that kids, little babies and stuff like that. And
that's a good point.
Stupid. Okay, well, the kids can go play on the deck. They're not allowed out on the green. But it was kind of cool. But one of the things, the story I was going to tell here is, I remember watching. I can't remember what year Brad Faxon was out. Okay.
Okay. Nice.
And I followed him around on a Thursday, and he never hit a fairway, but he shot par. I think he was up and down like 14 times or whatever. Like it wasn't like didn't have his A game.
Sure.
And I remember, because I would take time off and go and watch these guys because I wanted to, because I'd never seen it. When did I get a chance to go to a PGA Tour event?
Yeah.
I'd go to the driving range and just sit there and watch. I remember watching Matt Kuchar hit balls, talking to the reporter with the camera, and he's got like his, whatever it is, lob wedge, and he's just going, and he's knocking balls out of the air. Then when he's hitting balls, he's hitting the flag. I go, what? Like, I think he was probably 21 years old kind of thing.
Okay.
I never heard of him, but he was he was like the thunder coming up. And I was like, okay, this is sick. Like, you guys are sick. But watching Faxon do that, we would pick a group to watch.
Sure.
Just follow them around. And it was like, it kind of gives you a different perspective. Like people, pros you'd never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
You go, okay, where have you been? Like, why? And you can't make it. Like, you're good. You're really good.
Sure.
I've never heard of you, but you're really good. And predates the internet too, kind of thing, like where everybody was following everybody on the internet and shit like that. It was like, and it was a time too where you could go. They had the Hard Rock Cafe. I remember that they had it there, and you could actually mingle amongst the players,
sure,
and talk to them and shit like that. And it was, nobody was going to the gym, like really. Like if they were, I certainly didn't know about it. But I saw guys in the tent on Friday night that were teeing it up on Saturday morning.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But that was my first real insight into, okay, wow, like, okay, you flew in here, never seen the golf course before, and you can go that low. Wow,
okay, right.
That's sick. That's and having played that golf course, the Ridge myself, and known how tough, that 18th could play. And then just destroying it as a par 4 and going, okay, like,
yeah, no, they're the best players in the world, right?
Yeah, you got it. And that's the thing that I think the earlier that you can be exposed to that too, if you're playing and you can see that,
definitely
is better, because you can live in your own little bubble. And until you get out there and you see what's going on, you can't, and that's, I guess we'll never ever get a tour event back here, but we've got the Vancouver Golf Tour. But anyway, you talked a little bit about your collegiate career, your first pro tournament, you win $9,000. So you're thinking it's okay. And then you lost that. Where did you go? Where did you end up? You ended up on the Canadian Tour for a little while, right?
Yeah. I went to the PGA Tour Q school, and I missed out on second stage. And then I went and got my Canadian Tour card, maybe maybe it was in the spring. So the following spring.
What was that? What was the tour called then?
It was a Canadian Tour. It was a Canadian Tour for 1 year. And then, I think it was the Mackenzie Tour.
Yeah.
Was it Mackenzie? Yeah. They've changed it a few times.
How did you do playing the Canadian Tour?
First year I made all my cuts. Didn't really finish too hot. I'd say like top 12, I think was my best. And then the following year, I kind of struggled a bit. I lost my card, and then I kind of bounced around just doing qualifiers and just,
Going.
PGTs and Monday qualifiers down in the States. And then, I took a little bit of time off. And then the last time I went and tried to play was in South Africa in like 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun. It was, it was a good experience. It was a little bit far away from home though, which I was kind of not, I didn't really enjoy that much, but.
How they call it the Sunshine Tour, the South African?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The Sunshine Tour.
And what would the caliber of that tour be? If you were.
Well, I'd say the caliber is like very good.
Okay.
Like tons of players that you've, like you said, players that you've never heard of that are, in my opinion, could probably play on the PGA Tour, right? Like they're talented like no one else, right?
Yeah.
I think one thing too about that tour is some of these guys have like a pretty comfortable life there, right? Like, being a professional in South Africa, they're kind of looked up upon. Like they're, it's a bigger deal than say you play on the Canadian Tour as a Canadian.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of them do this. Like a lot of them do get out of there. You'd see tons of them. Like Tristan Lawrence, I played with. JC Ritchie, he's another good player. There's a ton, right? Like they kind of do like the Louis Oosthuizen round. They'll win like a co-sanctioned event, and then they'll get on the European Tour, and then they'll, do well on that tour. And some of them decide to come to the States. Some of them, just like I said, I don't know where all their minds are and how, like I said, if you want to be the best player in the world, it's not like everybody wants that dream, so there's a lot of really good players over there. I'd say the PGA Tour Americas right now is definitely a higher level. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but
well, it's proximity.
It's definitely good though.
Yeah, it's proximity to the PGA, obviously here.
Sure.
And it's the caliber of play is like it's pretty damn good. Like it's not like it's.
I think anywhere in the world, if you go to like some Asian tour, Australian tour, you're gonna find good players.
Yeah, and it's whether or not you can put it. Like we take like we got a major coming up here. We got the Open coming up this weekend. Everybody's having a shit fit because Scotty missed a cut.
What a loser, eh?
Boo-hoo. Like that's really, really, I didn't realize he hadn't missed a cut in 4 years.
I didn't either. I know when they said that, I was like, oh, really? It doesn't surprise me.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't surprise me.
Like he could win every single
week. He's that good.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at all of the other players and put that into perspective. And always the Open is always cool because you get to see players that we wouldn't normally see.
Sure.
You do.
Yeah.
Like you see Italians in there, you see and you go, oh, Jesus, this guy's got game. He's pretty damn good. Never heard of him. And he's been wallowing away in the DP World Tour for the last 5 or 6 or 7 years. And
I know. Every once in a while those guys win too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I that's why I enjoy it. Like I really do enjoy it. And it's, any major is wild, but the Open and the British Open is always like, because the climate is so, like
it's a hit or miss.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Like it's just like I turned it on to watch the I think it was Saturday, the Scottish Open, and it's like, you look at the weather and you go, oh Jesus, that looks like shit.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch it.
And we've been to London in June, and it's just like shit. Like it's nice, and then you end up, it starts pouring rain, and it feels like it's going to snow. And who lives here?
Yeah,
how would you, and I couldn't imagine what it would be like out on the links, wind blowing and shit like that, and not having a clue where. Like, I prefer Actually, I do prefer tree-lined fairways and rough. I feel like I stand a better chance than fescue. Like I mean that. Fescue is just like I'm a guy that I need a spotter for my golf ball anyway.
Sure.
But in the fescue, I can find my golf ball and then go back to get my club and lose the spot where my golf ball was. That's how bad I am with fescue.
Yeah.
That's just, and you're going, it's around here somewhere,
Sure.
and I told you how anal I am about the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I get pissed off, am I going to have to drop one here? Like, Jesus, I can't, I saw my golf ball.
Yeah.
I need a little stick or something to stick it, to find it. But anyway, so you play on the Sunshine Tour, you end up, how long were you there in South Africa for?
I was there for like a year.
Okay.
I kind of went back and forth, so probably like a year in total. And when I left, I actually still had tournaments on my schedule, but it's just too far away, and I just kind of almost burnt out.
Mm-hmm. And how did you do? Did you?
I had some good weeks, and I had some rough weeks. I probably would have kept my card if I would have just kept playing. But then again, it's like, okay, another year here. Like, what am I going to do? Might as well, because it's hard to advance out of there to anything. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of wanted to see. It's like, do I still, can I still play a little bit, and will I get the spark back? And then it never really, was as bright as when I was in college. So I just kind of, decided to, leave that professional life somewhat.
So where did you go when you left? When you left, where did you go? Did you go back to Edmonton? Did you?
No, I was living in Victoria at the time.
Okay.
So when I left university, I moved to Victoria just because I was like, okay, I need some decent climate. Just because I didn't get a visa in the States. So I lived out west, and then I moved from Victoria to Vancouver in 2020, 2019, end of 2019.
And when did you, you're still playing, you're playing Vancouver Tour?
A little bit. I kind of stopped there for a while with everything. I think 2019, I played a couple on the VGT.
Mm-hmm. And then you decide, okay, what was the decision? Let's talk about the decision to start teaching.
Yeah, what is I've gained a lot of knowledge of this game over the years. I've been instructed by, my dad, my uncles for years, since a little kid, and they kind of were old school instructors, in my opinion. So yeah, it was just like, hey, this is different than what a lot of instructors are teaching, kind of more, I would say, player based. That makes sense. Like learning how to hit certain shots versus learning how to swing a certain way. And and I went to a ton of instructors, as a professional too. Like I used to go down to Vegas. I had an instructor in South Africa and Dallas. So it's like, I've been around it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just kind of something that I was like, do I really want to do something different, or, can I take the knowledge that I've amassed over this time and try and help others. So that's kind of where I went.
So you made the comment that when you're teaching, I don't want to put words in your mouth because I'm trying to remember, but you said that a lot of teaching is swing based, but you go making shots, or am I putting words in your mouth? No,
that's correct. It's kind of like, you kind of have to have an idea of what you're wanting to do before you decide to change your swing or work on your swing. Does that make sense? Like, I think a lot of people put the swing before the shot. Like, if I get my swing this way, well, then they're unsure of the shot that will come out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to build it backwards, I find. Like, especially like those guys, you can watch those guys on tour. Like, they're trying to hit a specific shot with a specific height, spin, everything. But if that's not in mind, they don't know what to work on within the body.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I grew up, I think a lot of juniors don't do this as much as they should, is that they don't watch enough golf.
Yeah.
They don't understand what the best players in the world are doing. They don't understand the golf ball flights that they're wanting to hit.
100%. 100%. I'll tell you, I'll go back to Greater Vancouver Open, Air Canada Championship. I followed Corey Pavin, John Daly, and it was South African, David Foster.
Yeah, David Frost.
And I followed them on a Thursday. Daly was suffering from alcohol withdrawal, where he was freezing 1 minute and
Oh yeah, they might have seen that highlight.
And Pavin, little guy, couldn't hit the ball. Like, I don't think he could hit the ball more than 270, 280 kind of thing. But he set up every hole on the left side of the tee blocks with the tee block right between his legs. And everybody had to be out of his peripheral vision on this side. You couldn't have anything here. So he'd move the gallery all over. So he was just like anal about it, like anal. But he hit the same shot all the time. And he was able to repeat. So he knew his game. So he didn't have to worry about being, Daly could hit the ball 80, 90 yards further than him. But he knew where his ball was going all the time. It was repeatable.
Sure.
And that was the first time that I'd ever seen anybody do the same thing over and over and over again. Because my thing was, when I walk up to the tee blocks, I'm already shaping the shot in my head. And it might not be the right shot shape for that hole, but I'm thinking that in my head. And then once I get that in my head and I find out, and I don't know the golf course, and I find out that's the wrong shot. I shouldn't be hitting that shot. I should be hitting a cut, a high fade or whatever it might be, or, a low punch, whatever. But I always get and then I have to shake off the shot, and then you end up crossing yourself up, double crossing yourself and not making up but that was the first time seeing Corey Pavin just do the same thing and get around the course just fine. And
yeah, a lot of guys were like that. Tom Lehman.
Yeah. And you go, okay, that works. Nothing flashy, and that's where I learned. I learned a lot about, and I go, okay, well, there's nothing wrong with that. But also, how can't you hit a draw here?
Yeah, well, that's probably your ego.
Yeah, it was 100%.
That was speaking.
And that's because when I was young, you hit a draw, man. Any player hit a draw.
Right? Yeah, you don't see it much anymore.
No, that's right.
It's just a little bit difficult, I think, with the technology.
Yeah.
Technology is kind of, there's no reason to hit one anymore with the spin being so low.
Yeah, and you can hit, and the thing is that it's easier to control a fade.
Sure,
than it is a draw.
or definitely, yeah.
Like, it's just like the margin of a snap hook from a draw to a snap hook. It's pretty small. It's marginal.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure.
It's just an easier shot to hit. But and that was one of the things I always prided myself on. I was able to draw the ball when I needed to, and I was able to cut it when I needed to.
Yeah.
But that now I envision it at my age, and sometimes it doesn't always work out. But the thing is that watching professional golfers, it was a learning experience for me, because and I don't know how many guys were like kind of geeks like that would go out and actually enjoy watching somebody play a whole round of golf when nobody else is out there, and just see what they do, how they play it. And probably on the VGT, the Vancouver Golf Tour, there's some pros out there that young kids would probably learn from by watching them play around the golf course.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
No, yeah. I think you see that a little bit at like the Vancouver Open. There'll be some people who come out and watch. But even on TV, like, you'll be like, you guys watching the U.S. Open. Some kids are like, what's the U.S. Open?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong there, but it just seems like, I don't know, when I was a kid, or anybody that I knew who was wanting to be a professional golfer, or like a really good golfer, is like, well, what are the guys, like, what do you look up to?
Yeah.
What's he doing? And I think Scotty's a great guy for most kids to look up to, is that he's a true gentleman, and then he plays the game. He can draw it, fade it straight. He can hit them all, and he's very simple. Right? There's nothing really complex about the way he trains, the way he prepares. It's just he knows what he's doing. He's a master.
When you were playing on tour, was the physical fitness part of it? Was that
cardio? Or
yeah,
what do
all
you
that,
mean?
like just going to the gym like on a regular basis?
Not as much. No, definitely not what you see nowadays.
Mhm.
I'd say the cardio, like if you're playing 4 or 5 weeks in a row, you better be in somewhat shape.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of times you get tired mentally, and then that kind of can, seep into the body. If you're playing good for 3 or 4 weeks straight, you're not going to feel too tired.
Mhm.
But if it starts to go the other way, then I think that's when you can start
Well,
to get a little bit.
until you've experienced mental exhaustion,
Sure.
you have no idea what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys that used to train my son in hockey, he used to put he trained a lot of NHL players here, and he'd get them mentally exhausted doing drills, and then you just sit back and watch, and laugh, but at the same time go like you're gonna have to figure this out.
Sure.
Because your body is able to do it, but mentally you can't do it.
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
you can't execute. You can't do it. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're playing any sport professionally, you're paid on execution. Like you have to be able to execute. And if you can't do it, I don't need you. I'll find somebody else that can.
Yeah.
And the one thing about team sports is that everyone plays a position, right? Golf, you're not playing a position. You're it.
Yeah.
And it's a true meritocracy. If you're top of the pile, you're top of the pile. If you're not, you're not.
Oh, exactly.
Right?
No, it is. It's if you're not on, it's
Yeah.
a tough game.
Yeah. And shit doesn't always go your way.
No.
Like you can get you can hit a good shot and still have a shitty result. You can hit a sprinkler head, you can do whatever. Shit happens.
Sure.
There's been a lot of times where I walked up to the green, thought, and I do check the cup.
It can go the other way as well,
yeah.
though. People forget about that.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to brush off a good break.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's supposed to do that.
Yeah. Like and like it never ceases to amaze me
Yeah.
how you can do something really poorly and still get a good result. And that's the irrefutable law of luck. And I find that, the more someone practices, the luckier they get. And that's what, when I watch a lot of golf on TV and you see them chip in.
Sure.
You have no idea how many times they've done that in practice.
Yeah.
Like practicing out of the bunker. Like who does that? Well, okay.
Yeah, those guys are pretty automatic out of the box.
Oh yeah. It's like, well, he can get up and down from here.
Yeah.
Really? But he can. And they do. So it is, I think that we're missing out on one of the things that we're missing out here in the Lower Mainland is the ability is to see that type of play, like in golf. But like you said, I don't know how many young people watch the major. I'm just a golf guy. Like I'll be up early watching the.
Oh yeah, me too.
Like I love it. I do. I'll watch any kind of golf. It doesn't matter to me. Like and the thing is that I also have, because of I don't know if it's my age, but my experiences, I appreciate really good players.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't. I appreciate really good young talent too. Like nothing is worse than somebody that is a really good player. This is an excellent segue into talking about your coaching. But having somebody, a student or someone that's really, really good, but doesn't understand, I'd say, the next level as to where you got to get to. Because nothing is worse than having extreme talent, but not the, let's say, the drive, because you got to want, like it's like kids in sports. I didn't go to the golf course because somebody was telling me to go to the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to the golf course because I wanted to.
Sure. Yeah, big difference.
Yeah. Just like the same thing growing up in Manitoba, we were out on, in the freezing cold in the old rink in southern Manitoba, freezing our ass off because we wanted to be there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody, we're fight to get a ride and walk if you had to, that was the way it was. And the way, and I make no bones about the fact that there's hockey guys I grew up with that ended up playing in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, looking back on it, one of them was, I don't know how he ever did it. He won a couple of Stanley Cups and shit like that. But I lost track of him. And then next thing you know, he's playing for the Chicago Blackhawks.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. But the thing is that there's always players that are really good. And they start off, you start off young, but do you have in your coaching, when you're coaching, when you have a good player I would imagine, how do you get students? Like they just find you?
Yeah. Find you, advertise, word of mouth.
Mm-hmm. So when I'll ask you this, do you have any kids that you're working with right now that you think have a boatload of talent that would have, that need to, I guess the information or the philosophy that you bring, or I shouldn't say philosophy, but the mentality that you bring, you played on the tour, you played on these tours.
Mm-hmm.
So you have an idea as to what it takes. Like you said, somewhat. But
yeah.
the thing is that you've got that, it's fortitude, it's luck, it's drive, it's, there's a lot of shit that goes into being the best golfer.
Sure.
It's like there is trying to be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have to work at it.
Yeah.
And don't be an asshole. Like, I always, that's a motto I live by, is don't be an asshole.
Yeah, don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. Work hard. And you're not fooling anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Golf is a game where you can tell if you're coaching somebody and you've told them to practice something and then they come back and you can go, you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, it's like, it's their, if that's how they want to do it, then sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you get advice from somebody and you trust them and you want to take their advice, it's on you to either execute or not.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so do you have some, have you,
I got a couple kids. They're very young though. So it's, it'd be a silly thing to say this person could do what, they could go on the PGA Tour just because, like I said, it takes so much time, and just like, when does it ever end? If they still want it, when they get older, then great.
Do you believe, and I'll make this, when you're in, like, if you're an actor, okay, and I use, if you, and I'm not, I don't want to say, I got to be careful because Edwin is an actor here in the studio, but if you want to make that, it's easier if you're down in Hollywood, okay? Not that it's ever easy.
Sure.
Okay? I'm going to say that.
Okay.
But as a golfer, if you grew up in Scottsdale, or you grew up in, Southern California, or grew up in Florida, in that climate where it's accessible 12 months of the year, you can play, you got a little bit of a leg up.
You'd think so.
You would.
Yeah.
But then you see, a Norwegian guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, he moved to, didn't Hovland go to Arizona State or wherever he went? I don't know where he went.
They've been to Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma. Okay. There you go. Okay. So, but I guess that, like, we have, I just look at it and I think, well, maybe is there a correlation between, I'm just asking for an opinion, because if you're going to play golf in Canada, this is the best place to be. There's no question about it. Hands down.
Yeah.
If golf is your thing. But if you really, 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 really want to play, you're going to have to go down south and compete with, like, and I same thing. I've been to Scottsdale a number of times. Let's go to the driving range.
Mm-hmm.
and watch some guys and go, oh, wow, you're pretty good, or just, and it is, you've got a little bit of an advantage. You've got it's warmer. We have playing golf here in the fall. It can be a little tough.
Oh, for sure.
A rock.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
So I think that, but you can also say, why are, there's a lot of Asians playing professional golf now,
Mm-hmm.
which is okay. Well, why is that? Is there did golf all of a sudden become real popular in South Korea and China or
could be?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think there's just good golfers everywhere. Now. I think as the game grows, also too, I think there's always been good golfers, but access to see good golfers is probably up.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They got YouTube golfers now that people look up to. They got multiple different tours now. So the game is just, I think we consume it a little bit differently now.
Yeah.
Like you said, when you went to the Canadian event, you kind of had to go do it yourself. But nowadays, that guy probably has got a couple thousand followers or whatever, and he can look them on your phone.
Yeah. Well, I find myself watching a lot of stuff that I probably, I wouldn't drive across the street to probably watch, but I'm consuming it.
YouTube guy.
Well, I am.
I do too. It always seems to be.
I'm sitting there watching I don't even know what the hell they're called. They're making a golf cart for Bryson DeChambeau. It's souped up, but it's the stupidest thing. I'm watching this going, okay, what am I doing here? I just killed a half an hour or 45 minutes watching something.
I've done that too, yeah.
And going, okay, well,
Yeah, no, it's true.
But anyway, crazy golf story. What's the craziest thing you've seen on the golf course? And this is usually where I wrap things up because believe it or not, we've been talking for a while. What's the craziest thing you've seen on the golf course, on tour, or in your collegiate career?
You know what? I knew you were going to ask me that question, but so last week I played a tournament in Calgary and I played with Kyle Berkshire, the long drive champion.
Yeah.
That was probably the craziest ball striking I've ever seen. That was, I played with a lot of guys who hit it really far and really hard, but nothing like that. That was special.
How big is he?
I don't know. I wouldn't say he's too big, maybe 6'1".
Uh-huh.
He's got, decently broad shoulders, but he just seems like he's very wiry. He just seems like a strong guy.
Uh-huh.
His muscles are better than ours.
Yeah.
But it was impressive. Yeah.
He's impressive.
Yeah.
Hitting insane.
Yeah. Hitting mid irons as far as your driver is pretty impressive.
That is insane.
Yeah. That would be, I've never seen anyone hit a golf ball like that. And I played with Sadowski before too. But this guy was a little different.
I've actually watched quite a few YouTubes of his. So.
Yeah, and a super nice guy too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, he's a good guy. It looks like he's working on his game. I think he wants to get out a little bit further into tour golf, which
really good.
He definitely just keep at it.
Uh-huh.
You got an advantage of 50 yards over.
That's a huge advantage.
Yeah,
it's a huge advantage. It's a huge advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So
but no, nothing crazy like a golf cart lighting on fire or anything like that.
Okay, that's fair enough. Fine, fair enough. So you've ended here. You're in a good place. You want to be in Canada, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's good. What's your best advice for a young player?
My best advice for a young player.
Yeah, who's chasing. Thinks they, what's your best advice?
I would say, be kind to yourself. I think the hardest thing about this game is to stay positive. It's a pretty cruel game. You could be a really good golfer and, like I said, never win or, only win once every couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's hard to kind of keep yourself trucking towards your goals is that, always be like that your number one supporter. I think that's probably the best advice, just because skill wise, working on your game, that's kind of, everyone has to do that. But I think the guys who just keep believing in themselves, that's the ticket.
Mm-hmm. And then once you can break through, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big deal, is once you break through. I know that personally in my business career, is that once you like, and I say this, I've had a pretty decent life. Like and it wasn't like I planned it like this.
Sure.
It just, but I kind of did, you know, but it was at times being too stupid to believe that failure was an option.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to do it. Okay. And along that ride, you get better at it. And then one day you're real good at it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's the one piece of advice I would give when I was in a community, when I'd be asked to go and speak or whatever is that, you know, for me, winning the lottery is being paid to do something that you're really, really good at and you enjoy it. That's winning the lottery. You can go win the lottery. That's fine. But winning the lottery is, it really is earning your living doing something that you love.
Sure.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, I believe that a very large percentage of people go around their life not doing that. They're doing something that they hate or whatever it might be. But anyway, in wrapping things up, where can people find you, Steven? If they're
you could find me at StevenLecuyerGolf.com. And then you can find me at Seymour Creek also in North Van. And then I do have an Instagram account. What is it? I'm not even sure what it is. Steven Lec Golf, maybe? Steven Lecuyer Golf.
Okay. Then look them up.
Put it in the comments.
We'll put it in the comments. That's right. So
find it.
Anyway, Steven, thank you so much for coming out
yes.
and talking golf with me. I really appreciate it. I do this because I love it.
Sure.
I love talking about golf. I'm doing, you know, I try and promote as locally as I possibly can. I had, you know, Matt Daniel was on here and he played in the U.S. Open.
Yes,
Senior
Open.
It's just like,
he's a great guy.
And I go, that if I wasn't doing that, I would have never met him.
Yeah, exactly.
And going, now I can say I know a guy that played at the U.S. Senior Open. I don't give a shit what anybody else says.
Yeah,
you can't take that away from me. I can't take that away from him.
I hope he plays in it every year until he's 65.
Yeah. And the thing is, he's going to come on and we'll talk about what his experience was like, but just to be there.
Very cool.
Very cool. Very cool. That's huge. That's huge. And I don't think it's celebrated enough that like he went and qualified.
Oh, I know, right? Right. He almost made. I think he missed a cut by one.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was by one. And
it's pretty good for his first go at it.
Goddamn right. That's rocking it. So anyway, Steven, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Appreciate it.